Breaking news, absolutely terrible news, if the truth be told, coming in just today concerning digital ID, compulsory digital ID for the UK, about to be unveiled by Keir Starmer, an absolutely loathsome and much detested Prime Minister, possibly, if not the undisputed worst of all time. He is trying to kick this one into touch and get it over the line, as they would say in management speak. And why is it such bad news? Well, anyone that's been following events in the world over the last few years know that there is a totalitarian creep going on where governments want to censor what you can say, the things that you can talk about, restrict what you can get access to progressively. And this digital ID, and I've been looking at this and talking about this for some years now, is really the key to other things to be brought in. For example, CBDCs, or central bank digital currencies, programmable CBDCs that will effectively be able to switch on and off your access to any economy with the push of a button. Okay, digital IDs are absolutely needed for that to happen. Now they're being brought in to the UK under the guise of stopping the small boats. Stopping the small boats. It will make absolutely no difference whatsoever to the small boats. The Royal Navy are supposed to stop small boats. Border Force are supposed to stop small boats. The police or the army could be deployed on the shores of Dover to stop the small boats if that's what they really wanted to do, but they don't. Introducing this digital ID for predominantly law-abiding citizens within the UK is going to make absolutely no difference whatsoever to small boat crossings, and they're even calling it the extremely naff name Brit Card. Brit Card. Now that's original, isn't it? So the headlines here today, I'm going to blast through this piece, and then I'm going to play a quick video clip that's just been uploaded on this one too. Starmer to announce plans for the digital ID scheme. He's expected to announce plans for compulsory, this is the key, compulsory UK-wide digital ID scheme in a speech that's due to take place tomorrow. Now you might think, well, you're jumping the gun a little bit on this one, Rick. Many people feel that it's only been a matter of time before they would get this one in, and it looks like it's on the verge today, as reported by most mainstream media sources and, of course, television outlets. The PM believes it would help crack down on illegal working and modernise the state, according to senior figures. It won't. It won't. The practicalities of the scheme will be subject to a consultation, which will look at how to make it work for those without a smartphone or a passport. In other words, they're going to make sure you get one, whether or not you have a passport or a smartphone or not. That's what the consultation's for. And since when did the government ever consult with the public and the public said, we don't want that? And then they turned around and said, okay, then we'll just scrap it. We'll just shelve the plans for that one completely. Be under no illusion. Starmer is a rat, a globalist rat of the highest order. And he will stop at nothing to get this through. And behind the scenes, the demonic entity, also known as Tony Blair, has been probably salivating and doing all sorts of things in euphoria at the announcement of this. This was his brainchild baby that he's been trying to get implemented for a very, very long time now, but has been unsuccessful until possibly this point. The previous Labour government's attempt to introduce these cards was ultimately blocked by the Conservative Lib Dem coalition. Well, the Lib Dems are already showing signs that they'll wilt at this next incarnation of digital ID. They said they're not going to have a knee-jerk opposition to it. Earlier this month, Starmer said in an interview he thought the debate had moved on. We carry more ID now than we did 20 years ago. I think psychologically it plays a different part. Nope, no psychological effect on me whatsoever. Listener, are you psychologically affected by the amount of ID cards that you carry? I know I'm not. Reports suggest the government plans to use a new scheme to check people's right to live and work in the UK, with individual ID checked against the central. But, you know, we're here. We're law-abiding citizens. Stop people coming in on the back of lorries. Stop people coming in on boats, and as soon as they arrive on the shores, you pick them up or you throw them back from whence they came. End of story. It's very, very simple. These checks are currently based on physical documents, which we know are discarded either whenever certain individuals arrive at airports or land on the shores and exit their dinghies, miraculously lose their identity, only to pick up smartphones and accommodation when they arrive here. The government last year rejected a digital ID proposal suggested by former Labour Prime Minister Sir Tony Blair. Like I said, he's an entity from hell, is Tony Blair. Be under no illusion, and he hasn't gone away. Kemi Badenoch has expressed skepticism that this will tackle illegal. Why doesn't she just call it out? It won't make a damn bit of difference. There's no will whatsoever from this government or from the previous Conservative government to do anything at all about illegal immigration. Nothing. They've done nothing about it. It's only gotten worse. After the PM said earlier that officials were examining a scheme, she said it was not really going to solve the problem. It won't. It will not. It will do nothing at all to solve the problem. All it will do is impinge further on the freedoms of law-abiding Brits. Exactly. Exactly. It's not going to stop anything. So anyway, employers already have to check prospective candidates should have the right to work in the UK. Since 2022, carrying out checks on passport-holding Brits and Irish citizens using digital verification systems certified by the government. There's also a Home Office scheme, and individuals have been looking at whether requiring a digital ID could provide more consistent approach to verifying identity. So this is the back door in. They're saying they're doing it to make it easier for you, to make it less stressful for you, to make it easier for employers, to crack down on the small boats, blah, blah, blah. It is not. It is a lever for more control, and ultimately, without digital ID, they cannot implement CBDCs or central bank digital currencies, which will really be the game changer of all game changers. So let's look at the quick news report in this one and hear the waffle that's being spun forth about the possibilities that this has for doing good. And I'm here to tell you that it won't, but that's just my opinion. What do I know? What do I know? I've only been talking about this for about 5 years solid now, and now we're on the cusp of it. So let's hear what the news has to say.
ID will be made law for all adults in an effort to tackle small boats. Downing Street believes that a mandatory ID card system will help stop illegal immigrants working. Let's bring in our political correspondent, Mari Aurora. Mari, what more do we know about this?
Yeah, well, Gareth, this is interesting because this is something that has been spoken about a lot. Tony Blair, for instance, has been talking about this for years and years as what he always believed was one of the best ways to try and reduce illegal immigration and the ability for people to work illegally here in the UK. But Sky News understands that we will have an announcement, could be as soon as tomorrow, from the Prime Minister on these mandatory ID cards, an ID card system, the Brit card.
Look at that rat Starmer coming out of his lair in number 10 Downing Street. Of course, he's going to announce it on a Friday. It's a classic government move. When something is being announced that will cause massive rancor among the general population, they do it on a Friday. The reason is because they all disappear off for the weekend. So they've got at least 2 days for people to calm down a little bit, for some spin to be put on that through the national press, okay, that they will control the editorials for. And then people will have calmed down a tad by Monday, in which case they'll also have had the weekend to come up with more spin and benefits on this. Absolute disaster. As if Starmer wasn't bad enough, the evil entity that is Tony Blair is behind the scenes as his puppet master. And of course, he's having his strings pulled by his masters too.
And essentially what this will mean, it will be mandatory for all adults here in the UK. It will make it easier for employers and for landlords to make sure that those they are employing or renting or to actually have the right legal immigration status here in the UK. They can do it using a smartphone app. It's also, according to the government, going to make it easier for people here in the UK to essentially prove their status or their ability to kind of qualify to be able to work here in the UK. And essentially, this is all about immigration. This is all about trying to tackle small boats crossings.
No, 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 no. You tackle small boats very simply. They're crossing from France, they're crossing over to England, for example. So what do? Well, if you're the Royal Navy, for a start, you don't pick them up at the halfway mark and put them onto your vessel and then escort them to the UK. Or the RNLI have also been doing that, as have the so-called Border Force Agency, also known as Border Force. Instead of turning them, or at least taking them back to their point of departure in France, no, they waft them across the channel and they dump them onto English soil or onto British soil. And from there, they can continue into England, into Wales, into Scotland. Many are flitting across over to Northern Ireland and then crossing the border down into Dublin. Okay, technically speaking, all right, technically speaking, they're flooding in from the north and they're heading down to the south. That's a fact. That's a fact. And the vast majority of people that are coming into the so-called Republic of Ireland are coming in from the north. So that's a fact.
We've had a lot of conversation about small boats and about other European countries, especially the French, who have been concerned with the kind of pull factors here in the UK in terms of being able to work in the black market, being able to work illegally here in the UK. We already know that France has an ID card system. They've had it for many, many years. And it's something that the UK has always resisted, partly because of questions around civil liberties.
Yeah, the French have had it for years. They've had a card for years, and it makes no difference whatsoever. Look at the amount of people flooding into France. France is ruined. Okay, it made no difference at all. None. And in fact, all that happens is it funnels the people coming through France to move them across to Britain. That's it. The French card has done nothing because there's no will from the governments to do anything. Bringing in a mandatory compulsory digital ID will make no difference because there's no will from any of these European governments to do anything about this endemic problem of mass immigration, legal or illegal.
And freedoms, but also because many governments in previous times said they didn't think it was the best approach. Now, clearly, Keir Starmer has been persuaded of the benefits of a digital ID card system.
Persuaded, Keir Starmer's been persuaded of the benefits. Persuaded by who? Beelzebub? Methinks.
And has been persuaded that this might have a significant impact on small boats crossings. The question really, and this is always going to be the million-dollar question, is once this comes into play and once it is enforced, how much of an impact could it have on small boats crossings? And if it has
None.
a really significant impact on small boats crossings, and it really kind of starts to eradicate that pull factor for illegal migrants coming to the UK, because I think they can essentially make money on the side illegally.
They're doing it anyway.
As opposed to somewhere like that in France. How much of an impact does that have? And if it doesn't have a huge impact, then of course there'll be sighs of disappointment, I think, from within the Labour Party.
Sighs of disappointment within the Labour Party? No, there won't. There'll be rapturous applause tonight within the Labour Party if they do get this implemented tomorrow officially, and it looks like it's going to be. So I'm just feeding this back. Mandatory, compulsory digital ID coming for UK adults imminently. And if it does get through, and I have no doubt, there will be weeping, wailing, gnashing of teeth, might be huge protests, might be something done as a result of this if people can actually grasp what this actually means, or maybe they'll just roll over and accept it, in which case, if they do, it won't ever be undone. A government never takes power and then gives it back again. They don't do that. But anyway, let me know what your thoughts, comments are below. This is just breaking news. Leave me your comments. Share this video if you feel like it. If you don't, no harm done. And if you feel like subscribing to the channel, you can do so also and hit the notification button. But for now, I'm Rick Munn. This is No Risk, No Reward Media, over and out.